and what really matters about Tennessee athletics. The Off the Hook podcast at offthehooksports.com or Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or wherever you go for your favorite podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeart. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Off the Hook with Dave Hooker starts now.
Streaming live, and we've got a lot going on. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube videos. We certainly appreciate that. A little boost over the past couple 48 hours, and we have certainly noticed, and we appreciate you taking notice of what we're doing, both on offthehooksports.com and our YouTube channel. So thank you for the new subscribers. Hope you enjoy, like, and subscribe for more Tennessee content that includes interviews with Tennessee players like Jacob Warren, like Tennessee players like Cooper Mays, and also the insiders like John Adams of the Knoxville News Sentinel, Josh Ward. But here are the experts, Amanda LaFrada and Ethan Stone. I always start with Amanda, ladies first. Amanda, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well.
Amanda is muted. There's Amanda. Okay. Sweet.
You can't hear me?
Ooh.
I can hear. It's an incredible delay, like the most
Yeah.
incredible delay that I've ever seen. So I'll let you work on that. And instead, Ethan, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing good. I've gotten to about 75, 80% moved in here in my new place. So we're getting there slowly but surely. Still got a lot to do today, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I posted on Facebook. So we're making some minor changes to offthehooksports.com. And I posted on Facebook yesterday. I didn't know that running my own business would mean that we have one web designer in Canada who's making minor changes, but he's moving from one house to another. Like Ethan is moving. I didn't even include this. Amanda was dealing with family travel issues late last night, but I did mention that she likes her lipstick a lot. Marlon McKinney, who does Vols stuff, is at the British Open. So we're going to work out some sort of link up there. So, yeah, like yesterday, Off the Hook Sports was, I mean, we're international, kids. I mean, maybe that's where all the YouTube subscribers came from, is Marlon just going over there and shaking hands and saying you ought to subscribe on YouTube. But, yeah, yesterday was wild and woolly, but it ended with the culmination of Ethan Stone's countdown, a preseason countdown of the most important balls. A lot of people are afraid to write things like that. You might hurt somebody's feelings, but Ethan tackled it, and kudos to you both privately and publicly. Fantastic job on that series. I really enjoyed it, and I think it'll help Tennessee fans. You get in the kind of the offseason. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes in April, I forget who played in the Super Bowl. It's like I have to take us 2 or 3 seconds. So going back and reading about all those players was great stuff. And if you haven't done it, do it. Of course, Hendon Hooker was number one. We knew that going in, Ethan. There was never really a doubt. I have trouble even coming up with an argument otherwise. Other than the fact that I do think that there are other quarterbacks that could have success in this system. But, yeah, I really feel like I'm reaching to even try to find an argument against him being number one. He is number one. He's the key.
The only guy I can put even close, and I guess Jeremy Banks could be in the realm, but not really. But Jeremy Banks would be close. Cedric Tillman's the closest in my opinion, just because like you lose him, especially for this year. Who's your wide receiver one? Like, are we going to go Jalen Hyatt to run the entire offense? Now he could have a breakout year, but that doesn't mean that he's proven. And Cedric Tillman is proven, and he's a second first-round draft pick, I feel like, if he keeps having the year that he did last year. So Tillman is the guy that I would say is pretty close. I actually kind of went back and forth on it just to shake things up because everyone was going to think Hooker was first. But when it comes down to it, it has to be Hooker. I mean, he goes down with an injury. This team is all of a sudden a 7-win team instead of a 9-10-win team.
Yep. And also on the site, still there, Amanda and I worked on a piece that has my name on it just because I couldn't figure out how to split byline it yet, but we'll figure that out. Again, my web designer in Canada is moving. But Amanda, the Tennessee being number one in the SEC, when I sat down to write this piece, I kind of knew it, but I didn't know it, number one in the SEC in recruiting. And then when you sit down and you really look at it, the key is, and we wrote the 3 steps or the 3 reasons why Tennessee is number one in the SEC. I went back and read it, not because I like reading my own stuff, just because it had me thinking when we went over it. But the number one is ultimately proof. He has shown last year in offense, and he has I'm talking about Josh Heupel, and he has shown that this is a better culture. Guys talk. Guys know when they come on campus if the key players are associating with them, and they're going to shoot each other straight because they're more apt to be loyal. And Tennessee fans or sports fans think this is crazy, but Amanda, they're going to be more loyal to another 17-year-old who's walking the same path that they just walked than any school they've signed with if things aren't going well. So good morning again, Amanda. But Josh Heupel has.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, it's still bad.
Still breaking up a little bit, but we'll continue to work on that.
Say 1, 2, 3, Amanda.
2, 3.
Yeah, it's like 1 second too late.
Yeah. Why don't you back out of the software here?
And then come back. I think it'll be better if you.
Yeah, we'll get you set up. Amanda's had a long night. I feel for Amanda. She her husband's like way smarter than us journalism and broadcasting people, and he had to do some emergency thing in Miami. I was with him last week, and he got called to Miami to go do something. And I don't know if you've heard, but travel is an absolute mess nowadays.
It's a nightmare right now.
And somehow he got funneled through the Tri-Cities. I didn't even know that you could get funneled through the Tri-Cities, because when you get funneled through the Tri-Cities, you still have to fly into Knoxville, which must be about a 3.5-minute flight. But that's what Amanda's been dealing with. So everybody is, except for me and just my usual insomnia, is playing a little bit of hurt. But I opened the gym at 4 a.m. this morning. Are you guys proud of me?
That's solid.
Open it up.
Ooh, say something, Amanda.
Well, let's test Amanda. Talk, Amanda.
Talking.
Dang, I don't know what's going on.
Still something wrong with the front end of when you start talking.
Yeah.
We did so much great content yesterday, and she was perfect. So I just keep working with that, Amanda, because for some reason it's not just a delay. It's kind of like it's a combination of that and
it's like,
hello.
It's so weird. Like your mouth is midway through your sentence, and then it starts going. It's very weird.
Yep. So but we've got a lot to get to on the program as Amanda works out her technical issues, which are always a fun part of any sort of broadcasting. That's what I always said back in the day, and now I guess it's more along the lines of Zoom. I used to say the best thing for talk radio in the history of man was the cell phone. The worst thing for talk radio in the history of man was the cell phone, because you could get people anywhere, but they broke up a lot. So we're having a similar issue with Amanda, but we'll get that worked out. Now, try again, Amanda. I heard you that time. I got 0 from you.
I got no audio.
Yeah. Okay. So cool. We're going to continue to work with that. Okay. So Tennessee did have their invitees, and that is on our website, the invitees to the SEC Media Days, where we'll be broadcasting live from next week. And Ethan, I wanted a couple of our guys like Cooper Mays and Jacob Warren that work for us to be representatives. And I think they would be. I think they're very well spoken. I think they're good young men. They're not going to get arrested at the pilot for trying to rob a hamburger. And but ultimately they went with guys with bigger names, and I can't blame them. What did you go over the selections for SEC Media Days, and what did you think? I didn't think there was really a stunner.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of seniors. I think that's why. Now Jacob Warren is a senior as well, so I could definitely have seen that selection. But you got a defensive guy, you got Hendon Hooker, defensive guy, and Trayvon Flowers, and then Hendon Hooker and Cedric Tillman, probably the two most important people on the offense. I don't know. It's just who they picked. I guess they think they're going to represent Tennessee well, and I don't know. That's their selection, and ultimately, I don't think it's awful by any means. I think Hooker's a good quote. I think Tillman has been a good quote. What Tennessee's really missing out on is Velus Jones, because he's gone. Obviously, he was a fantastic quote last season at Tennessee. So unfortunate for that. The Bears are getting a good one with that. So I get to stick with Velus for the next little while, but. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see it. SEC Media Days, obviously, I think coming up pretty soon here.
Yep, just next week. So we'll be rocking and rolling live from Atlanta. So looking forward to that. There will be a ton of news as you can just kind of feel it when they announce the invitees for SEC Media Days. You can just kind of feel the buzz. We see an increased traffic on the site. We see an increase of subscribers on YouTube and all that good stuff. So that's that's just, it's hard to believe, but it's right around the corner. I wish it was the last week of July, because then it used to lead right into practice. So you would come back and practice. So now you've got this really weird week where if you're like a beat reporter or us and you're talking about stuff, you've got this weird week in between SEC Media Days and practice. But nevertheless, I think we can hear Amanda. And I think her throat's clear. Amanda, how are you?
I'm scared to talk.
I don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand.
It's very strange.
Okay.
I didn't hear a word you just said.
Yeah, I didn't hear what she said. So she's gonna boot back up. We've got to have Amanda here. So
she might have just said, "I guess I'm leaving." Then.
Yeah. So brought to you by Vols Automotive. Car shopping made easy here at Vols Automotive. Their mission to be the automotive home of drivers in the Knoxville area. It's about quality. It's about integrity. They want, they need, and they appreciate your business. That's what Vols Automotive is all about. And they keep you going with great service and repair work. So Vols Automotive. Ethan, as far as the other players that were announced for SEC Media Days, really, I think we talked about it. Was it yesterday or the day before? That this is just not a really good year for quarterbacks. You have Bryce Young, Hendon Hooker. I think you said you like KJ Jefferson quite a bit.
I like Jefferson.
Then there's, you might like him a little bit more than me.
I think there's a considerable drop off after, to be honest with you, of those top three.
I agree. And so you're not going to see a lot of quarterbacks there for SEC Media Days, as they did announce the attendees. So when we talk about Alabama, as you would expect, Will Anderson, Bryce Young, Anderson, the generational type of talent, no surprise, linebacker, defensive end, edge, Jordan Battle, defensive back, and then in Arkansas, you have Jefferson, and Auburn, you have Tank Bigsby, who I think is a really interesting pick. I would not have made that pick, Ethan, because I wrote a lot about Auburn last year, and I saw Bigsby at times complain. You could see on the sideline that he was upset by not being in the game in key situations. Am I going to ask him about that? Yes, I am. So I wouldn't have taken him if I were Auburn, quite frankly. But they take Derek Hall, who I believe is the most overlooked player in the SEC. I mean, this guy's top 10 pick. And I like Shanker, the tight end, as well. Florida takes Anthony Richardson, the quarterback. Georgia takes Stetson Bennett, and what I believe is his 13th year in the SEC. Kentucky,
something like that.
I mean, how long does it feel like Stetson Bennett has been around? Will Levis. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it totally does. I'm backing you there 100%. He feels like he's been here since App State upset Michigan. So
it does. Will Levis from Kentucky will be their headliner. LSU brings wide receiver, linebacker, defensive end. So there's not a lot of star power there. Ole Miss will bring an offensive lineman, defensive end, wide receiver. You know that Lane Kiffin did everything he could to try to bring a quarterback, but it's just not there after Corral's departure. Mississippi State goes defensive tackle, linebacker, wide receiver. So, Missouri, wide receiver, defensive back, defensive line. I mean, there's some years that I've seen 10 quarterbacks invited. I mean, this particular year, you're struggling to get to 5. So it is just not. Mike Wright of Vanderbilt is one of the quarterbacks, but it's just not a real quarterback friendly year, Amanda. So we're going to try your audio again, and I believe you're back. I have faith.
I don't either. Oh, I didn't get any audio that time. Sure, you're not muted because usually we at least get some audio. Interesting.
I believe in you, Amanda. I believe we have zero audio now.
Yeah, audio is completely gone.
Okay. She's rolling her eyes. So you could just do, for those watching, you could just do like sign language. It's always a possibility.
That's a good idea.
I wouldn't suggest that.
Go get a whiteboard.
Yeah. We absolutely cannot hear you at all, but we can see you and you look fantastic. So, but you sound even better on previous podcasts. We want to be sure and get that worked out. So it might take a complete reboot as she shakes her head and rolls her eyes, but we can make that happen.
She's not coming back.
She's coming back. She will come back. Okay, so Tennessee, and the other thing that I always want to keep up to date with this time of year, because this is kind of the final wraps, which sounds so crazy, in the 2023 recruiting class, because you've got coaches that need to take vacation. You've got SEC media days. So you're kind of putting the final wraps on. I was asking you potential announcement dates, and there's really not a lot. You would expect it to hit a lull about this time in July, even with the new calendar. So that's the question that ultimately we'll look at. But who's kind of left on the board?
Jakeem Jackson is July 28th. I want to think it's Florida that's been trending a lot towards him. I could be wrong there, so I'm not even going to continue going. I can look it up at the moment. But Jakeem Jackson is a big one. Hunter Osborne is one that Tennessee is big on at the moment. I'm not sure where that stands and not sure where his commitment lies, but I believe Hunter Osborne's the biggest left that Tennessee believes they can truly get. And then, man, after that, it's a bunch of nothing. It's a bunch of nothing. All the recruits that were committing to Tennessee, the targets anyway for Tennessee, were early July and kind of spilling into the second week of July. And we've passed that now. The Vols got Umarov, they got Jonathan Eccles, they got, fill in the blank. Jalen Smith, couldn't remember his name there. Obviously, Davion Bradley. And at this point, it's just kind of hit the lull, as you said.
Another note, Tennessee picks up a first baseman in baseball transfer. And man, despite how the season ended, if Tennessee's still not one of the hottest teams in terms of the transfer portal / recruiting, however we want to coin that phrase, then I don't know who is. I mean, I think they're in great shape. So they picked one up yesterday. How big of an impact might he have, Ethan?
Well, you got to get him to campus first. MLB draft, obviously, July 17th, coming up very soon here within the next 5 days. And he's a guy that could go early rounds. The one hiccup is that he had Tommy John surgery last season, missed the entirety of the year. But he was very, very good for the Huskies the year prior. Played first base and pitched about 10 innings worth of work. Had a 2.35 ERA in that time, 13 home runs as a first baseman hitter. I think batted 295, somewhere around that. Also batted at 62 RBI. So he's a solid player. He's a stud, a guy that could definitely benefit Tony Vitello and staff if he could get to Knoxville. But that is the issue right now, is just hoping he can get there. And you think if he announces this transfer destination, he has to have some sort of plan. Maybe he doesn't think he's going to go as high as he wanted to. And that's really the case. If he gets drafted in the fifth or lower, I'd say Tennessee's probably going to get him. And that Tommy John surgery, like I said earlier, that definitely could deter some MLB scouts. Say, hey, we'll just wait, see what he does in college this year, and then we can take a little bit more of a risk on him next season. Obviously, the MLB is a little different because there's just so many drafts and rounds and picks that you can kind of make them disposable at that point. But he's a solid player if he can get to Knoxville.
I'll be honest with you. I've gotten to the point where if you have Tommy John surgery, I think that's a bonus.
I mean, Ben Joyce is a perfect example.
I mean, I think it gives you more whip. I think that it, I've even read where 13, 14-year-olds are having Tommy John surgery. Well, it'd be their parents voluntarily because it makes them a better pitcher. Now, I think voluntary surgery, just for the sake of doing it, is pretty stupid. because I've had 20 surgeries in my life, and trust me, there's a chance you could die during every one. So I don't go voluntary.
I'd say Tommy John is as safe as you can get, but it's still,
yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of mine have been safe. A lot of mine have been tonsils removed, but still, when you have that
working around
anesthesia, I just it scares me. So but with the Tommy John surgery, that just appears to be kind of like the ACL. This is a little bit before your time, Ethan, but in the 80s and 90s, a guy suffered an ACL injury. He was pretty much done. As a matter of fact, the first one I can remember that really bounced back and lived up to his potential was probably Michael Irvin of the Cowboys. Now, that's just my personal memory. I'm not saying that's the first one, but he suffered, a lot of people forget, his rookie year, an ACL injury, and came back. And I don't think he was ever as fast as he would have been, but used to be the ACL meant you're done. It's over. And now, much like Tommy John, it just seems to be like outpatient surgery.
It's pretty incredible. I mean, unless you really, really mess your knee up, you got to be like Klay Thompson level of I need 2.5 years of rehabilitation here. But you're 100%
Teddy
right.
Bridgewater. Bridgewater.
ACL is usually, I mean, you miss a season, maybe not even a season as of right now. I know E.J. Liddell just went out, and there's a chance. E.J. Liddell, obviously former Ohio State basketball player for the Pelicans, went out in the summer league. My fridge just
so the first baseman,
but went out in the summer league, and he's. Here, you go ahead. I don't know what just happened. I didn't see your mouth move, and sound just came out. So.
Oh, no. So Reggie Crawford would be the guy that we were talking about as a transfer. But with the Tommy John surgery, I don't know that you don't come back as a completely better player. I mean, it happened with Ben Joyce. Maybe we can have him on to talk about that. But it to me is just absolutely a game changer just in terms of the stability of that elbow. And it is funny that the first Tommy John surgery was actually performed on a guy named Tommy John. Did you know that?
I was looking for a joke there, and I couldn't even find a joke.
It took you a second. Like, what are the chances Lou Gehrig would get Lou Gehrig?
Would get Lou Gehrig disease, exactly.
Yeah. I would remind you to go down to Big Orange Philly. Why? Because Big Orange Philly is a great place in North Knoxville that you can hang out, and you are absolutely going to love it there because they have fantastic food that you can pick up in the fridge. They also have fantastic food that's hot off the grill. They've got it all at Big Orange Philly's, and they've got a great place for you to hang out if you want to do the karaoke and sing "Old Baby Got Back" or whatever the case may be. Your karaoke go-to song is, Ethan?
Oh gosh, you really put me on the spot here. I don't even
think about that. That might be our poll question.
Let me think about it. Yeah, let me think about it because you really put me on the spot there. That's hard.
Okay, so that may be our poll question. So again, at Big Orange Philly's right there in North Knoxville and Maynardville Pike. It is very easy to find, and you will love it. It's a great place for North Knoxvillians looking for a place to hang out. And just in case you're up in Maynardville and you're thinking, man, there's nothing to do in Maynardville. Well, just right down the road is Big Orange Philly's. Let's try to bring Amanda back in here. I feel confident that Amanda has figured things out, and she gave me the hush button. So that means don't talk to you right now. Okay, we won't. What is the best college town in the SEC? We will discuss that right after this. Please like and subscribe, but it is official. The best college town, and I'll tell you if Tennessee is represented, but the SEC certainly is. So stay tuned. More after this, as this is a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.
Gary Viles here. I want to personally invite you to North Knoxville's newest sports bar and restaurant. It's Big Orange Phillies, located in Black Oak Center. And yes, folks, it's happening in Halls. Big Orange Phillies offers family-friendly environment with homemade meals and the best deli-style subs around. Billiards, darts, jukebox, shuffleboard, and cornhole, and a full bar. We also offer valet parking on weekends and during special events. We even have a covered back patio. It's happening at Big Orange Phillies. We want, we need, and we appreciate your business.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
There's your bear.
This is Al's Dish Barbecue Supply, so come on in and see all the different rubs and sauces we have, plus a complete line of Green Mountain grills. Don't be overwhelmed. We have plenty of help so you can produce the best barbecue and amaze your family and friends. Barbecue is America's food. We'll do what we can to bring you all the best products. We're Al's Nest Barbecue, where Chattanooga goes to grill.
Do you want to own the more that owns every job? Then get to Vassey Lawn and Garden in Cleveland and get you a Toro. I'm David Vassey, here to talk to you about Toro. With a Toro Zero Turn, you'll get more out of every minute and you'll reach the finish line faster. At Vassey's, we like to say, no matter if you're mowing 3 acres a week or 11 lawns a day, homeowners and business owners alike find confidence in equipment they can trust from top to bottom.
Vassey Lawn and Garden, Highway 60 North in Cleveland.
Man alive, it's worth the drive.
All right, so those top college towns, and we're going to try to bring Amanda back in. Amanda, how are you? Can we actually hear you?
I want to try something real fast. I wonder if it's me. I'm going to leave for 30 seconds. When I leave, Amanda talk and see if I'm being 100% serious, because I seem to be the only variable right now is being in a new place. I don't know how it would be me, but you never know. So I'll be back.
We're bouncing Ethan for 30 seconds, and we're gonna check with Amanda. Amanda, you're shaking your head. Now talk to me. I don't see how it could possibly be Ethan, but that's what we're working with. I can read your lips. She said, I don't think it's Ethan. Interesting. Okay. So, all right. Well, we will get there. Ethan will join us again. The nation's best college towns, according to bestcollegereviews.org. And you have at number one, Boulder, Colorado, which is, obviously a great place to live. I don't know if it's a great college town. This list surprised me a little bit, Ethan, but we have Boulder number one as the top college town.
In the country?
I'm trying to figure that one out. I mean,
not sure about that one.
They have a really cool mascot. Michigan is number two. Wisconsin.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, I could roll Michigan. I could roll with we're gonna try Amanda back, but she's gonna work on everything. No, she's not. She's frustrated. Okay, she's sleeping. She's leaving. Okay, so the third, Madison. I have zero issue with
that.
Madison.
Makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And then Ithaca, New York.
What college is even there?
I don't know. It looks like a bear. I knew you were going to ask me that. And then Ames, Iowa at Iowa State.
Okay, I could see that.
Now, Cal comes in at number 5, and it's troubling to me that we don't have an SEC team yet, right? Very troubling.
Yeah.
So Cal comes in at number 6. I'm sorry. I've been to Cal, and I've covered a game there. To me, Ethan, it's more like it's a party with a football game going on, where in the South, it's a football game with a party going on. And there's a big, big difference. Besides that, there was some protester that was completely nude up in a tree, and I looked up and saw the worst thing that you could possibly imagine.
When Berkeley will do that.
When a guy's up in a tree nude and you look up, you don't have a good view. Not at all. So he was protesting about something, but I don't have Berkeley anywhere there. I mean, that was a cool party place. Like if I were partying that day instead of working, I would have enjoyed it. But it didn't do anything for me just in terms of a college atmosphere. I will say the stadium and the backdrop is pretty cool. But Chapel Hill, number 7. I've not been there to a game. Penn State in at number 8. Yeah, I mean,
surprising that we have not gotten to Oxford or College Station yet, in my opinion.
I know, and actually, according to the top 25, we're not going to, believe it or not. So Iowa City at number 9, Corvallis, Oregon, where Oregon State is at number 10, and then the number 1 SEC team that comes in at number 11. Would you care to guess?
I mean, if you said it's not Oxford or College Station, I mean, Tuscaloosa?
It's Gainesville.
No, in the SEC, this is a terrible list. Gainesville's up there, not the number 1 in the SEC. No way over Oxford.
I mean, if you want to make an argument for Gainesville, they have all the restaurants and bars literally across the street from the stadium.
I would say Gainesville is top 5 SEC. They're not number 11 in the country.
No.
There's no way.
Yeah, and then you have Pitt, Champaign, Illinois, Fort Collins, Colorado, Blacksburg, which I think is very underrated.
Virginia Tech, yeah.
Yeah, just the SEC not getting much love, and I don't know who puts together these lists. This is bestcollegereviews.org, so it's the nation's best college towns. I always get scared of any sort of website that is .org. Because you .org to avoid paying taxes. Yeah. And in some cases, if it's like First Baptist Church.org, I guess that's fine. They shouldn't have to pay taxes. But just bestcollegereviews.org scares me a little. But
I get that.
To not have more SEC schools up higher on the list is really pretty stunning to me. Now, the Open is going on, the British Open. In St. Andrews, and our own Marlon McKinney is there, so hopefully we'll get a report from him. But I know you're not the biggest golf guy in the world, but there is that Live Tour, which you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia oil money, and essentially the goal was for Saudi Arabia to step in with the Live Tour, pay a bunch of players a bunch of money, and it's called sports wash is the term that in PR is used. So, but it's really made it worse. Because now it's drawn attention to their terrible, terrible history of human rights. Mm-hmm. So instead of, they have a golf tour, that's awesome. It's these guys that have done all kinds of terrible things now are paying players to leave the PGA. So kudos to Tiger Woods for standing up and saying, I appreciate the fact that a lot of players didn't go. And Tiger, is a very calculated guy, Ethan. He's not a guy who's going to come out and just blast people for no reason. But Tiger is also a guy that chooses his words carefully. What does that mean? That means, when he said that he's disappointed in a lot of the players for leaving the tour and that they might not play in the major, I mean, he's serious. And ultimately, this is like, to me, Ethan, I guess maybe back in the day when you had the ABA, but it's kind of like going to another league that you're showcasing your wares, but you're never allowed to win a championship, which is always an issue I had with the USFL as well. So, I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but it could. Mm-hmm. That the majors could say, hey, you're not allowed to come to this tour, the British Open, the PGA, the Open, and the Masters. It's possible. Now, whether or not that happens, I don't know, but it is a possibility. So, I mean, to be a golfer and not being able to participate in the top 4 majors, which is how you're ultimately judged, and what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point if you are just going to play for money? Because that's ultimately what this is all about. It's what everything's all about, is people wanting more money. So everyone crossing over, I guess, they say, I don't really care about the game of golf. I want a paycheck, especially considering where that money is coming from. They obviously don't really care. They just get money and they're okay with it. But, I mean, can you imagine, I'm not even going to say LeBron. Can you imagine, like, Patrick Mahomes saying, I'm going to go play in the XFL. I don't care about a Super Bowl. At this point, it just seems it's a little different. I get it, but it's a little weird. It's just a smidge weird to me that these professional athletes that would train and work their way, to where they're at, that it obviously takes for them to get there and then pretty much not just throw it away, but throw away the banding up for something, or you just want a paycheck? And it seems to be the latter.
Yeah, I think it's clear they just want a paycheck. So I do want to set up the poll question here. I do want to get to that, Ethan, but kudos to Tiger, a guy who, is so image conscious, but ultimately he was willing to step out and call some of those players out. By the way, Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy and Paul Lowry named honorary St. Andrews members. There's no doubt in my mind that part of that is kudos for not going to the LIV Tour. I think that's part of it. I think, hey, look out for your own guys, even though it's not a PGA sponsored event. But, it is disappointing for me to see so many guys jump in. And Tiger brought up a really good practical point. Despite how you feel about this from a business standpoint or a political standpoint, he said, if you're going out there and playing 54 holes, okay, and everybody makes the cut and you're paid $25 million before the tournament, and what's the motivation to go out there and get better every day? I think he called it grinding the dirt was the term I heard early this morning. What's the motivation to grind in the dirt if you know that you're going to get 7 digits worth, maybe 8 digits worth of money just for showing up? You don't have to make the cut. You play 54 holes. It just seems like a really lazy way to attack your career.
I'm going to give you a football example here. Robert Quinn.
Medicine woman?
He's a defensive end for the Bears. And he, 2 years ago, I think, he gets this big contract extension. And he's terrible. He's just awful. And then the following season, all of a sudden, he's a superstar. And it's because he had just gotten paid, in my opinion. And he's like, oh, they're just going to let me go if I keep playing like this. I got to have at least one good year. And I think it's kind of similar. You see people get paid, and they say, oh, okay, I've gotten paid. I'll just kind of mail it in here. I'll get a sack every once in a while. I'll run through the motions here. But ultimately, I have my money at the end of the day, and that's what I care about.
Okay, I want to get your poll question because Amanda and I visited yesterday, and we've got one that's pretty saucy, but I want to hold it for tomorrow because she's going to kill me if I use it without her. She's having some technical difficulties. She swears via text is on my end, but I sound clear.
It makes the most sense to me also that it would be on your end because it's not mine, and I mean, it's progressively gotten worse for her, and it started ever since that thing happened pre-show. So
we'll figure it out. Yeah. But again, we get to the poll question brought to you by the Mattress Place, 22 years on Chapman Highway, Marine Corps owned and A+ accredited member of the Better Business Bureau, over 225 5-star reviews on Google. That is the Mattress Place. What do you got for today's poll question, Ethan? What is percolating in your mind this morning?
See, I was kind of hoping you'd have a better one because mine was going to center on Reggie Crawford. Just do you think he makes it to Knoxville? That was the most interesting one I could find in a Tennessee time of nothing happening. So I was going to say, do you think Reggie Crawford, UConn transfer, makes it to Knoxville, or do you think he goes high in the MLB draft and moves on to greener pastures?
Okay. I can definitely roll with that. I think that's something we can do. I will say that the NIL changes things. I don't ultimately know how to look at his number, to be real honest with you. I mean, I used to be able to say that you would make $10 million or even $3 million guaranteed money. And as opposed to having a half a scholarship in college, you should go. But the NIL money changes everything. I mean,
yeah, it'll make it difficult for sure. It's going to make a difficult choice for him too, because even if he gets drafted second round, he doesn't have to go.
I mean, think about quality of life for a second. So, $3 million for the major leagues to tell you where you're going to go, and you're going to go on these buses in AA, and it's going to be a struggle to get the major leagues. It is for every prospect. Or you go to a place like Tennessee where you're beloved. And not just Tennessee, we could throw in a lot of other schools, and you get a little bit of money. I mean, that's
And keep in mind also, while we're doing it, baseball does not get the money that Nico Iamaleava will be getting. Even if Reggie Crawford is a stud and a very good baseball player, we won't be getting that major league contract. But at the same time, I see what you mean, and especially after coming off Tommy John surgery, even though you think it'll make people better, there's still MLB prospect, scouts that'll say, I'm not sure I want to take a risk with that, and you might fall a little further because of that. So we'll see. But I think we should do that as the question today. I think it'll get some traction.
Okay, fired out there. Will he end up in Knoxville? Again, please set your notifications on and subscribe and like this. We would certainly appreciate that. And this too. This bothered me because, it really bothered me. Short of somebody, calling my wife a name or something like that. But it on 3, and I rarely, just so you know me, Ethan, will call out another media entity. We all have a job to do. We all have different ways of going about it. That's fine. I get that. But yeah, they have got this new evaluator, the NIL valuation. Have you seen this yet?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So incredibly stupid. It's hard to put into words. So how this pertains to Tennessee is that 5-star Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava has $1 million on 3 NIL evaluation. He's one of 4 players, I believe. What in the world does that mean?
I can't figure it out either.
Please explain that to me.
It's not even a metric of how much money they have made in NIL. It is how much On3/an entity thinks they are worth, like a net worth kind of thing.
Do they speak to business owners in particular cities? Does it matter what school they
I have no
to?
idea how they figure it out. They might just, I don't know. They might just pull it out of thin air. Who would you guess first place is? I don't know if you've looked it up already.
It's got to be Arch, right?
It's gotta be Arch. It's not.
It's not?
It is Bronny James. He's not even in the NCAA.
Okay.
Yeah, I squeezed $6.4 million just because of his dad. But yeah.
Well, I think he wants to. When is he out of school?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I think he might be 2024. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'd be lying to your face if I said I knew.
Well, yeah, but I will also say this about Bronny James. I can kind of see that a little bit, but I because he can change a team so quickly. But he wants to play with his dad in the NBA, doesn't he? 2020, so he's next year.
Yes, he
wants to play with
does.
his dad, so he's going to go pro, right? He's not going to go to college.
You have to do it. You could either do G League or you could do 1 year of college. You have to do one of them.
Oh, well, yeah, that's right because they changed that rule.
He might do college for 1 year and do the one and done route. In my opinion, that would be the smartest thing for him to do. But yeah, because even though he's the son of LeBron James, he's not a 5-star automatic talent guy. He's very talented, but he's not a guy that immediately is going to be in the NBA and make an impact. Not yet. Not right now.
Our poll question today brought to you by Steve Ray's Midnight Oil. That's where I get all my cars serviced in beautiful Ottawa, and also Alice Nest Barbecue. If you haven't been to Alice Nest Barbecue, you need to do so because it's a great community where they're going to give you barbecue tips, and it is absolutely fantastic when it comes to the wood chips, the pellets, the smoking pellets, the sauces, the rubs. They've got it all there at Alice Nest Barbecue, so certainly want you to check it out. So what are your thoughts? Do you think Tennessee ends up with, I'm sorry, the kid's name is suddenly
Reggie Crawford.
Yeah, Reggie Crawford. Do you think they end up with him from UConn?
It's hard to tell. It's very hard to tell because there's just so many variables and you don't know that much about this guy before he transfers in. I would lean yes, because I feel like if you're transferring, like, why not just stay at UConn? He has to have some sort of plan. So I feel like the transferring thing and him doing that so soon to the draft, he probably sees his worth in it and where he thinks he's going to go. And I bet in his mind, he's thinking, if I go higher than I think I'm going to go, I'll just, go to MLB and make some money there. But if he goes about where he thinks he will, which is probably, I don't know, 3rd round, 4th round, something like that. If he goes below 5th, I think he'll definitely be on Rock top. It really just depends on the draft, and he could go anywhere there. So there's no way of knowing. Not really. I'd say I'd top if I could help it.
It's time for Talking Cruton, brought to you in part by our friends at Craft Treats. Craft Treats has the treats that your pet needs when it comes to anxiety or arthritis, any sort of pain with those elderly pets. So it's time for Talking Cruton, and we're going to take a look at the state of Georgia.
Talking Cruton.
Am I right or am I right or am I right?
Who's on Tennessee's board? The names you need to know exclusively on Off the Hook Sports with Dave Hooker.
All right, so we turn to Chris Landry, who made an appearance with us. He talked about the importance of recruiting Georgia, and now that Georgia compares to California, Florida, Texas, which 10 years ago would have sounded like blasphemy, but it's going to be the same way with Nashville. Nashville is going to compare to Atlanta in 10 years from now. So as you see these population growths, you're going to continue to see more and more of this. But Georgia, he said, as far as depth, everything is right up there with the Californias of the country, not of the world. And that he's a firm believer that Tennessee has to have success in Georgia. Here's Chris Landry at LandryFootball.com. Commitments, one that is only one of 2 5-stars they've had since 2019. That's pretty strong.
It is, and we've talked about it as they're making inroads. When you can get some guys that are really good players, and then we always say in recruiting, it's finishing second is, doesn't do any good. But when you get those kids to begin to come in and see what you're doing and get a peek behind the curtain, and then you can get 1 or 2 of those, it really starts to snowball in a positive way. And now I'm very curious to see where they go from here, because it was a good weekend, and excited about what they've been able to add, particularly to the defense. More speed, some pass rush, skill guys athletically that fit their scheme very well.
Let's talk about specifically Shandavion Bradley, who is out of Missouri. He's the edge rusher, defensive end / linebacker. My poor wife is like, what does edge mean? So she proofs my copy, so I'd explain that to her. So I want to do that for those that still may not understand that that's a real term now. But what do you make of him as an edge rusher?
Long, athletic guy. He can put some, he's about 220. He's got a frame, though, to put on some good weight. Really good athlete, participate in track, good basketball player, can really run. The thing that jumps out to me on film is his get off. I mean, he's got an explosive get off, and he closes in a hurry, which is things that are tough to teach. Really, you can teach technique, but you can't teach the explosiveness.
That is very true. And we use the term edge rusher now, Ethan, more and more. I mean, we could still use defensive end and linebacker if we wanted to. It's just how close you are, more so than the hand being down. But Shandavion Bradley, who we've referenced, could have a monster impact on Tennessee in the very short term.
Yeah, him and Caleb Herring. I'm very excited to see what that duo of edge rushers can do for Tennessee. I mean,
you do
two top 10 guys, and then you got the number 43 as well, and Nathan Robinson. So Tennessee is well set on defensive ends, edges.
Well, along those lines, let me ask you, because you've made a point of bringing up Herring a couple of times. What is it you like so much about Herring?
I mean, he's just he's a top prospect guy that I feel like nobody's talking about. I mean, he was the 2nd-rated guy in Tennessee's class for the longest time, number 68 player in the nation. I mean, he's obviously got the athleticism. That much I feel like is obvious. But in-state guy as well, the number 1 player in the state. You got to be excited about a guy like that. And I feel like just no one has talked about him. So I like to bring him up to say, hey, I mean, Shandavion Bradley is awesome. Pair him up with Herring. Pair him up with all the guys that Tennessee already has, and it's going to be a buzzsaw.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that Tennessee listen, right up there next to NIL money, I guess, and nowadays, but right up there is also playing time, and kids want to play immediately. I would say that to take NIL out for a second, I'd say the two biggest factors, more than the stadium, more than the facilities, are the ability to play right away and a proof of performance that coaches have gotten players to the NFL. To me, those are the two most important factors. Now, Tennessee now has some proof in the pudding. Velas is a great example, Velas Jones, of being able to. I mean, that was a guy who was, man, I didn't even think a draftable guy for a long time, just kind of bounced around. And then last year he comes out of nowhere and things are expected for him in the NFL. I just hope or expected.
I'll bring up someone else. Alontae Taylor went like 2 or 3 rounds early to the Saints, and that might have something to do with the Saints loving Tennessee Vols and this thing in New Orleans where there's a Tennessee-New Orleans pipeline. But Alontae Taylor getting drafted early is a major testament to this coaching staff. Cade Mays getting drafted, Theo Jackson getting drafted is a major testament to this coaching staff. So, I mean, I'd agree with you. These players come in, they see these guys like Jackson, like Mays, like Taylor that are going higher than they were supposed to be. And then Velas right about where he was supposed to be, maybe a little high as well. And you think, okay, if they can make these guys into legitimate players here, I get a shot. And I don't see it ending anytime soon. Tennessee's going to have a couple guys go in the draft this coming year. Tillman and Hooker, just off the top of my mind, probably a lot more. And people like that. They're at the end of the day, looking for the betterment of their future and like the rest of us, looking to make money so they can provide for people. So it's cool to see that they're putting people in the draft again after a couple years of downtime for Tennessee football when what used to be a very common occurrence.
Absolutely. Don't forget about City Heating and Air Conditioning that is right there in North Knoxville, and they service the entire Knoxville area. City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. They're about integrity, and that's important. And they're not going to say, we'll do this $29 tune-up and then tell you got a $1,500 bill. That's not what City is all about. They want lifetime customers, and they want to be your lifetime HVAC service and dealership company, and they can do that. You're not going to believe what happened on this day in sports history. Stay tuned. Back in exactly 2 minutes. A monumental day this day in sports history. Like and subscribe, and then Amanda won't have technical issues. Maybe. Stay tuned.
Maybe.
It's Gary Viles here, Viles Automotive on Callahan Drive. I've been selling cars here in East Tennessee for 27 years. In that time, I've come to realize it's not about the car. It's about you, the customer. So I'm here to take care of you just like family. Good credit, bad credit, you name it, we can get you taken care of. If we don't have it, we can find it for you. We go across the country to get any vehicle that you want. And here at Viles Automotive, we don't believe in fake numbers. We just give you great deals. And as always, we want, we need, and we appreciate your business.
Do you want to own the more that owns every job? Then get to Vassey Lawn and Garden in Cleveland and get you a Toro. I'm David Vassey, here to talk to you about Toro. With a Toro Zero Turn, you'll get more out of every minute and you'll reach the finish line faster. At Vassey's, we like to say, no matter if you're mowing 3 acres a week or 11 lawns a day, homeowners and business owners alike find confidence in equipment they can trust from top to bottom.
Vassey Lawn and Garden, Highway 60 North in Cleveland.
Man alive, it's worth the drive.
This is Steve Rain. I own the Midnight Oil and Michelin Tire Direct service station here in Ooltewah. It's not a fancy place, never has been, but it's a clean place with clean restrooms and good folks who work here. We sell gas and fix cars, nothing glamorous, but we love what we do, and we're going to keep doing it for a long time to come. There's not many real service stations left, and that's a shame. We're the guys just like the guys back in your hometown. We'll fix your tire, change your oil, and put a new set of Michelins on your car. If you want a Twinkie, you'll just have to keep on going. Thanks for the business.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
So this day in sports history, it was way, way back, even before me, and I'm old. It was the very first Olympics back in 1904 in St. Louis. Where do the Olympics rank on your sports radar, Ethan?
In terms of what? Like things that I look forward to?
Yeah, like you
It's
would
below
go
the
out of
World Cup. Let's say that. I'm gonna be honest, it's not very high, not anymore. I thought it was the summer is cool. So actually,
See, I like the winter more, but it
I was
kind of
just about
depends.
to say, I think I agree. I think the winter is better. Now that I think, when I was younger, summer was cooler, but now I think I agree with you. I think the winter is better. They've got a lot of cool stuff happening.
Yeah, and well, they added the X Games, which at the time everybody knocked it for being trendy, but it really wasn't. I mean, it stuck. People are still snowboarding. I mean, there. If you go to but if you go to a skiing venue, there's probably 25-40% of the people that are snowboarding. So it's not like it's gone away. It wasn't
Yeah.
trendy. But yeah, the very first Olympic Games, I guess there has to be a good story for me to get drawn in. And I do worry about the fact, because I appreciate and like the Olympics. I worry about the fact that maybe COVID gets them all thrown off. This sounds insane. I don't really know what year they get rolling again and whether it's winter or summer. Maybe you can Google that while I tell you about the Zool Beer Company. But that is bizarro that I'm not even 100% sure when the Olympics commence again because of COVID and all that crazy stuff. Zool Beer Company. If you haven't been there downtown yet, go to Zool Beer Company and ZoolBeer.com. And man, they just absolutely have the best place to hang out, especially on Fridays. They've got the big panoramic view of downtown, and they've got the best beer, the best merch in the biz. So check them out, Zool Beer Company. And so when is the next Olympics, Ethan?
It's 2024, Paris.
Okay. And then
so
that'd be summer.
Yeah, and then winter is Milan. Yeah, Milan in 2026, winter.
It's beautiful this time of year, Milan.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
It is. It definitely is.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
It definitely
when was the last time they had the Winter Olympics?
I don't remember that. I guess 2020 would have been 2018. Yeah. That was in Sochi?
It's our trivia question today. Post and you can win a prize.
That was Sochi, right?
I
2018 I think 2018 was in Sochi. Interesting. Learned something over there.
Sochi, if you got them. Have a fantastic day, everyone. For Ethan Stone and kind of Amanda, I'm Dave Hooker. This has been a production of Off